Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to step inside a cage, metaphorically of course, to unpack a really powerful story about majesty and imprisonment, and it's all wrapped up in one single, unforgettable poem.
So, yeah, what does happen when a king loses his kingdom? That's the huge question at the heart of Leslie Norris's poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. It paints this just incredibly vivid picture of a magnificent creature that's been ripped from its world and is now stuck in a life it was never ever meant to live.
You know, the whole poem is really built on this stark, powerful contrast. On one hand, you've got the zoo, which means a concrete cage, total frustration, helplessness. And on the other hand, you have the wild, a world of freedom, raw instinct, and pure power. The tragedy is, the tiger is living in one world, but it belongs in the other.
All right, so let's start by diving right into the tiger's trapped reality. The poem kicks off by painting a really bleak picture of its life right now. The poem starts with this incredibly simple but powerful image. I mean, it's just behind bars. But these aren't just physical barriers, right? They're a symbol of its complete imprisonment. They separate it from everything that makes it a tiger in the first place.
And what's so sad is that even in this totally artificial world, you can still see its natural grace. It's moving silently on those soft pads, almost like a ghost of the predator it's supposed to be. But all that incredible grace, it's trapped. It's just reduced to this endless, aimless pacing back and forth in a tiny concrete cell.
So the poem says the tiger just ignores the visitors. And you have to ask why. Well, think about it. All of its immense strength, its natural fury, it has nowhere to go. So it all gets turned inward, and it becomes this simmering, silent anger. The poem calls it a quiet rage, which is just the perfect description for that feeling of being completely powerless.
You know, you'd think maybe the night would offer some kind of peace, right? A chance for it to connect with its nocturnal instincts. But nope, not at all. Instead, its world is just invaded by the sounds of human control, these patrolling cars. It's this constant, nagging reminder that it's never alone, and it is absolutely never free.
Okay, so that's the cage. Now, let's flip the script and look at the world the tiger should be in. This is where the poet really builds that core conflict, masterfully shifting our view from what is to what should have been.
Because in this world, the tiger isn't some exhibit for people to gawk at. No way. It's a vital part of the ecosystem. It's a shadow, lurking in the long grass, perfectly hidden, totally and completely at home.
Out here, life is all about instinct and action. It's about roaming huge territories, being patient and strategic, waiting by a waterhole for prey to come by. It's about unleashing that fearless power, not from a place of rage, but just because that's what it does. It's a life with purpose.
And his next part, I think, just brilliantly shows its true status. In the wild, a tiger is a force of nature, an apex predator. It commands respect, and yeah, even fear. When it snarls near a village, that reinforces its rightful place as this wild, untamable king of its domain. So, what's the big difference between these two lives? The poem basically forces us to put them right next to each other so we can really get what's been lost here. And when you lay it all out like this, side by side, the tragedy just becomes so clear. It's not just a sad feeling anymore, it's a loss you can actually measure. You go from vast natural surroundings to a tiny concrete cell. From complete independence to being behind bars, from the active hunt to just pacing back and forth, and from being feared and respected to being ignored, just a spectacle.
Okay, but this whole powerful contrast, it's not just about one sad tiger in a zoo. Of course not. Leslie Norris is using this one animal's story to say something much, much bigger about a relationship with the entire natural world.
Yeah, the poem really makes us confront some tough questions, doesn't it? It's a sharp critique of captivity. It asks us, is it really okay to cage a wild animal just so we can be entertained? It makes you think about what freedom really means. And it's a serious warning about the consequences when humans try to dominate wildlife.
So after showing us these two completely different worlds, the real one and the one that should be, the poem brings us back to the cage for one last totally heartbreaking image.
This line, wow, it's just devastatingly beautiful. Think about it. The stars represent this huge, untouchable freedom of the wild, and the tiger, with its own brilliant eyes, is staring up at them. It's like one form of brilliance, trapped, longing for another. All its power, its spirit, its very soul, it's all still there, inside him, but it has nowhere to go.
And really, that's the question the poem leaves us with. It challenges us to look past the bars, to see beyond the spectacle of a captive animal. It asks us to recognize the king who's lost his kingdom, to see that quiet rage, to feel that stolen freedom, and to understand the deep, profound sadness of a life that was never lived.